Guys, you will not believe it, but I have read 8 books. 8 in the month of September. I don't even know what time of year it is, but I am so excited. Who's proud of me? Are you all proud of me that I read 8 books and all I had to do was stop filming because I literally filmed 2 videos last month. I am totes winning. And I really need to get back into 7 on Sundays, but I am just excited because I have not read this many books in a month for probably 4 years. I am so proud of myself. I can't believe I did this. And I have like a lot of random stuff because I just was reading whatever I felt like reading and I feel like it was the vibe for me. But I'm so excited to tell you all the books I read. I have a lot to talk about because there's obviously 8 of them. So the first book I finished because I did start it last month because it was on my Magical Readathon TBR. Pretty sure. I already forgot. That was literally last month because August, well actually 2 months ago because now we're in October. I don't know where I am in time. I don't know how time is going so incredibly quickly that we're already in October. Like it's gonna be November soon and then December. Like obviously I'm just listing months here, but it's just like it's gonna be 2023 before I know it. But I read The Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams and this was really fun. Like I'm so glad I ended up buying this book and I do think eventually I'm gonna buy the sequels, but at the moment I'm pretty happy with just this first book. The only thing is it was just like too corny and like I enjoyed it so much. I did give it 4 stars because again there was just too much sweetness and it's weird because I am obsessed with it being really cute and happy and fun, but it was just too much that sometimes there was like secondhand embarrassment vibes. But I loved it so much and I'm really starting to enjoy these second chance romances. But in this book they're married with kids and like they just kind of like aren't really vibing anymore and there's a lot of things happen and then something blows up and it's just great to see the way that they both start to relearn each other but also understand that they need to change things in their own lives to be happy with themselves first, then with each other. Like it's just done really well. But the best aspect of this book is for sure the book club because these boys that are supporting boys is just adorable. Like I enjoyed it so much. Even though Gavin and Mac don't get on, they still support each other when they need the support. But I just really enjoyed this book and I do highly recommend it. Then I listened to my most anticipated read of the year, which is Buzzman Material by Alexis Hall, and oh my god, I don't even know if I could tell you if this book's my favorite or the first one's my favorite because like obviously the first one had so many shenanigans of them pretending to date and then falling in love and then not really knowing what to do, but now this one involves a lot of shenanigans because they are getting married, but also there is 3 other weddings that happen in this book and a funeral, and Luke and Oliver actually have to go through so much soul searching in this book because when they really get down to the basic instinct of their relationship is they're not very compatible with each other. And like that doesn't matter because obviously they love each other so much and they care for each other and they are each other's person, but there are so many things that they just don't agree on and it really causes them a lot of strife in this book. And obviously with the idea that they're going to be getting married, there is a lot going for them that they're like, is this the right decision? Are we with the right people? And there's always like a lot of angst in this book. I felt like it was funny, like there were so many good shenanigans, and there's also a baby now because the James Royces have a baby and it's little Beba J, which is just cute on its own. But I do love the way that they really formed a stronger relationship than what they had because we had a 2-year skip here, but I just enjoyed it so much and I just love their relationship so much. And again, the next book is going to be father material, so like I'm gonna be so excited because neither of them know what to do with a child and it's gonna be so good. Okay, so at this point I was just like, you know what, I do not care about anything that I have to read. I just want to pick up a book because I want to, and what I decided to read is something that I've been wanting to read for a really long time. So I finally read Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and oh my god, I was just not prepared for how much this was gonna like emotionally drain me, but in a good way obviously because I have continued to keep reading because it's so good. But I just know that Taylor Jenkins Reid is definitely one of my favorite authors. Like she just has such a gut punch to you every time you read one of her stories. She has these stories that you just know it's going to be sad. Like this one is about the band Daisy Jones and the Six, which is obviously fictional, and it's following the lead up to why the band broke up. So you know that there's going to be devastation. This is what she does. You either know someone's dead, you know someone's been broken up, you know something's different. You just know that no matter how happy you can be in the moment, it's going to go to shit. Like, and it's so sad. I did enjoy the interview format. The only thing is you just don't get any descriptors, and obviously when they're talking, they're telling you things, but we're not able to see their expressions and what they're feeling and thinking. It's basically whatever they tell you. Like, they could be lying to you. And there is situations where they remember things differently because it's been like 20 years since the band broke up, and they're getting interviewed for this whole thing, and this interview process takes 8 years. So when everything's been put in order, there are still times where people think there's a different day or a different time, or someone did this thing but someone else thinks that someone else did it in the band. And that's what made it really interesting, is it's actually such an unreliable narrative of a story, because really, do we even know what's going on? Maybe not, but I just enjoyed this book so incredibly much, and I highly recommend it. And like the rock and roll vibes and the 70s vibes, and it was just all sex, drugs and love, and just, it was good. It just killed me at the end, but I highly recommend. And then my next plan was to finally finish a series, because I know when I was like, oh, I'm gonna read whatever I want, I was like, I can't read a series because that also makes me feel like I have to do it. But then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna finish this series that's been on my shelf for a very, very, very long time, and I'm gonna be happy about it. And I honestly have a lot of thoughts, and I have put thoughts in my phone, and I really don't want to spoil things, but I am going to just let you know, because it's the Shatter Me series that I'm going to be talking about. I read freaking all 4 of them that I have left. I did it. I committed to this atrocity, but I have thoughts and feelings that I need to let out to you guys, but I'm going to try and be as vague as possible. But if you are wanting to read the series and you don't want anything that I say to like stop you, just like probably skip or even stop, because basically the rest of the video is about this series, and then it's about one other book that I listened to. So basically, if I'm holding a book up and you don't want to be spoiled, just skip me. I just needed to give you that tangent in case anyone's like, why would you say that? I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to. So first, I've got Defy Me by Tahira Murphy. Obviously, that is the author. So this is the 5th book in the Shatter Me series, and this is the smallest in the series. It's very much a filler book, but also what's interesting is there is 3 POVs in this story, which we have Juliet, Warner, and Kenji. But Kenji is actually the only reliable source of information, because Juliet and Warner are kind of loopy at the moment because they've been captured and they are going through some things, like they're remembering some things, and they don't know what's real and what's not. So basically their chapters are just us going through some memories of some things that may or may not have happened, and then we've got Kenji, who is just fighting for his freaking life trying to get through the situation. So it made it very interesting, because obviously Kenji is my fave. He is the best character in the series, who is from book 1 to book 6 remained the same, but also developed beautifully. But he has never changed character. Warner in the last book has changed too abruptly for my liking, that I don't like him anymore. Like, I will only ever remember Warner from the first 3 books because they've actually butchered him completely in this story to make him an arsehole, when before he wasn't really. Like, he had his quirks and his personality traits, but this one he's just really a dick. He hates everyone and he's rude all the time. And also my hated trope in this series is when the love interests are torn apart. Like, I don't think Juliet and Warner had more than 2 scenes together in the last 2 books. It bothers me. It bothers me so much. I'm trying not to say too much. Like, I'm gonna have like a rant incoming about book 6. It will be coming, but this one, out of the whole experience, was probably the better story that I've read out of the Shatter Me series. But even then, I gave all of them 3 stars, and I think Restore Me I gave like 4 stars to, because I was still optimistic, but it's like wrong. I should not have been. Then I finally finished the novella collection, because I had to read Shadow Me before I read Defy Me, but then I had to read Reveal Me before I started Imagine Me. So I'm only counting this as finished book, even though I finished one novella, which is a separate story, and then read the other novella. But these books are both Kenji's POV, and I do think they really do add like this little bit extra story, but really you don't need them. I don't think you really need any of the novellas, honestly, because everything that you see in the novella just gets fleshed out really quickly in the story anyway, so you're not missing anything. Like, there's nothing bonusy, except like, Believe Me does give you like a bit more story. Like, it tells you a bit more about everyone's lives, which is understandable. But I did enjoy these. I really do love Kenji as a character. I have said this, and we also got to see more of like Nazarene and a few bits more with Warner, Min and Dick. but you know, it's enjoyable, but I like don't think you necessarily need it unless you just want to know a bit more about a couple of things in the story. I gotta get my notes on my phone. This is probably where it's going to be like arsey if I'm going to be talking too much and you don't want to know, because I just need to bleh at you. Okay, so then I read Imagine Me, which is book 6, and literally everything you've learned in books 4 and 5, this book just takes them and goes fuck that shit, and then you just continue on with this new bogus ass fucking weird shit going on. Like, I hated this book. I honestly should have given it 2 stars, but my love for the original trilogy will not let me. I gave it 3 stars, but this is what the worst thing, probably the worst thing I've read this year, because I'm so disappointed. So basically, if you've read Defy Me, just picture the plot, and it's the exact same thing, except there is the amnesia plot line in this story, and that is a fucking spoiler, and I'm sorry, but there is amnesia that they attempted in book 5 that didn't work, and now they're doing it in this book. I'm so sorry, I'm so spoilery, but I need to talk about it. So basically, that's the only difference. Like, someone gets captured in book 5, and then they get captured again in book 6 in the exact same situation, and they're trying to do the exact same shit, except it doesn't work either way, because suddenly you get rescued, and every other character is all about trying to get rescued. And in this book there is no POV for Warner, so we only get to see him stewing and being a dick and being completely rude to everyone and thinking he's so important. And I'm like, you're freaking 20, bruh. You are still basically a child when you were acting like these temper tantrums, and he freaking is always hating on Kenji, and he's always like, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you. And I'm like, bruh, Juliet has to put up with so much shit from you that you have to just treat everyone like utter garbage, that I don't see what she sees in him anymore. And even though Juliet's like, oh my god, he's so soft and pure and I love him so much, and they just have like sex all the time whenever they're actually together, but it just doesn't make sense to me that she loves him anymore. Like, yes, books 1, 2 and 3, godsend. Not this one. It's just so bad. And as I said, they're hardly together. What is the point of a new trilogy if we don't see the main eye candy of the story actually interact with each other? It bothers me so incredibly much. I don't get it. I don't get it. And there is so many different things that happen in this story, and there's so many reveals that are actually kind of cool, but it doesn't take away from the fact that she just basically was like, yeah, I'll write this new trilogy and I'll make every book the fucking same. I'll make it the same story. I'll just tweak a couple of things. It's like that meme where it's like, oh, copy my homework but just change it a little bit. Like, bruh, how can you just keep, like, was it like first draft, second draft, third draft, and you just pushed them out and pretended they were a different book? Because they're not. It's the exact same plot story, and I am mad about the whole entire situation. I'm going on my freaking rant, and I forgot that I actually read a book in between Find Me and Imagine Me, and that was Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, because I read it again. So what's funny is I've been doing the Macca's Monopoly because I've been trying to win prizes, obviously. There is a travel voucher that I was really setting my eye on, but they actually make it completely impossible for you to like win anything. So I was just getting food for reasons because I love eating Macca's, even though it's so bad. But one of the first things I won was a 3-month free trial to Audible, and I feel like my phone must have known. It must have been listening to me, because I was complaining about the fact that I wanted to listen to this audiobook. And this is the main reason I didn't read this book when it first came out, is because I was annoyed that Scribd just doesn't have any of her books anymore. So I was like, umming and ahhing about it, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna freaking do this trial, get the audiobook and be able to listen to it. And I've got 2 more free credits that I might also use to read Malibu Rising and Carrie Soto's Back, just to continue on. And then I think I'm just going to go back to Scribd, because I have so many books on there that I can listen to, and with Audible you can only listen to 1 book a month. Even though it's cheaper if I was to do like a whole 12-year payment for like $13 something, and then I get 12 credits straight away and I can just like use them whenever, but then I probably would just start buying shit. Like, I need to be like really careful with it. But I listened to this book and I listened to it really quickly, because even though it is like a 10-hour audiobook, it just went by so incredibly quickly, and I definitely felt differently about the story. Like, I loved it both times, but there was just different things that stood out to me as I was listening. But also what was confusing is a lot of the time they don't actually say the character that is talking in the interview, so you'll just be listening and you'll be like, Was this like Eddie or was this Graham? Like, who is talking? And I had to try and like remember which voice was who, because that's a whole cast of characters. But I definitely do think probably the best way to do it is to listen and read at the same time, because there is things that you'll miss in both ways. And there's definitely parts of the story where when as I was listening to it, I'm like, oh, this bit's coming up, I'm very excited. But I'm counting it as another book read because there was a 10-hour audiobook. I listened to the whole thing and I'm proud of myself. Okay, and then finally, I read Believe Me by Tahira Murphy. So basically the first 2 chapters of this book are the last 2 chapters of Imagine Me, and then it just goes on a bit more. It goes on a bit more. There's a life event that happens to Juliet and Warner, and there's a struggle to get it happening. But also this is completely Warner's POV, so we finally got back with him, and he's just in there like making excuses for why he's being a dick, and I'm like, bruh, just admit that you've been a dick and you should just like quit, leave, you know. But this life event's happening and I am excited because I really only enjoyed the part of the story where we got to see what everyone else was doing and their plans for the future, because literally this world's just effed, and I don't think they're gonna have it fixed in the span of Juliet or Warner's lifetime, but they're gonna have to start doing stuff. And basically Juliet's gotta like help with situations and do things, and everyone's trying to help. And again, I'm sitting there like, oh, you freaking like 18, love. Like, I don't know if I just can't read YA books anymore when they're just like life or death. Maybe it's why I stopped reading all my fantasies, because I just ran out of time. But I am so glad that the series is over and I can say that it's done. It was a mission, my god. But like, look at this little stack I have. Like, I read all of these and then Daisy Jones twice. I'm proud of this. Like, this is such a good amount of books and I just can't believe I got through this many. But anyway guys, that is all for my wrap up. I'm really sorry if I get too spoilery. I'm really just hoping that no one cares or no one watched this far. I did say, I gave many warnings that it was probably going to get heated. I didn't know I was going to get that heated for Imagine Me, but like, don't read it. Just don't do it. It will ruin your soul. But I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. I am going to try and get back into like making at least a video a week and then maybe more. We'll see how we go, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!